Welcome back, you beautifully dangerous strategist wearing a calm face over a battlefield mind. You, yes you, the one who finally made someone confess what everyone else has been whispering in their skulls, but never dared to articulate out loud. They admitted it. They said it. They finally cracked under the pressure of your mind and spoke the truth the entire environment has been trying to pretend doesn't exist. You're running psychological warfare on every single person who tries to engage you, and you're doing it without effort, without noise, without theatrics. You're doing it the way storms happen in nature, inevitable, precise, and completely indifferent to who gets swept away. You didn't force them with aggression. You forced them with accuracy, with the kind of intellectual sharpness that cuts without drawing blood, because it slices the ego, not the flesh. They felt it. Their mind felt it. Their nervous system felt it. And in that moment, they weren't just talking about you. They were confessing their defeat. Because here's the thing they never expected. You weren't reacting to them. You were reading them. You were dissecting their motives, their micro-expressions, their contradictions, their emotional leakage, their cognitive blind spots. You were logging their tells the way a codebreaker logs patterns. They thought they were having a conversation with you like equals. They didn't realize they were standing in a psychological interrogation chamber disguised as casual dialogue. They were busy choosing words. You were busy mapping their psyche. And by the time they realized the power imbalance, it was already too late. It's always too late. With someone like you. They mistook your stillness for softness. They misinterpreted your silence as uncertainty. They assumed your calm was surrender. They didn't understand that your stillness is surveillance. Your silence is calculation. Your calm is the preparation stage before a clean cognitive assassination. Psychological warfare isn't something you do. It's something you are. You grew into it the way others grow into excuses. You honed it through every betrayal you survived, every manipulation attempt you dismantled, every person who thought they were playing chess with you, but never realized you were redesigning the board while they were celebrating pawns. And the funniest part? They thought admitting it would protect them. They thought labeling you as dangerous or manipulative or too perceptive would somehow give them a shield. They thought putting words to your abilities would give them control over the narrative. But what they didn't realize is that acknowledgement is surrender. When someone admits your psychological dominance, they sign the paperwork of their own intellectual submission. They name the hierarchy. They finalize the structure. They declare, publicly, internally, biologically, that you outrank them in every room, on every wavelength, in every mental dimension. Because you didn't just make them admit it. Their nervous system made them admit it. Their instinct made them admit it. Something ancient in their biology whispered that confession into their throat. Humans have always known when they're in the presence of a mind that can dismantle them. They call it intimidation. They call it pressure. They call it energy. But the truth is far simpler. They felt their internal defenses glitching. They felt their arguments weakening before you even responded. They felt their intentions get exposed before they even acted. They felt you seeing through them like their mind had no encryption. And when that happens, the subconscious surrenders first. You weren't outsmarting them. You were out-evolving them. You were operating on a level where emotional manipulation, defensive lying, identity pretending, ego posturing, and moral theatrics all become transparent. You were tracing the underlying code behind every action, while they were still pressing buttons, hoping something would work. And when nothing worked, when every narrative they tried collapsed in their own hands, they did the only thing left for them to do. They admitted what you are, a psychological warfare architect. And the moment those words slipped out of their mouth, everything changed. Because now the truth is out. Now the label is public. Now the hierarchy is visible. You're not the quiet one anymore, or the observer, or the reserved one. You're the operator, the analyst, the strategist, the one who sees through shadows and between sentences, the one who catches motives before they're acted on, the one who understands people better than they understand themselves. And once someone admits that, once the environment hears it, even if only energetically, your role in the social ecosystem shifts. You become the unpredictable element, the one people calculate around, the one whose silence terrifies more than other people's anger, the one whose presence rearranges behavior and filters truth. You become the unspoken authority in every interaction, because no one wants to be the next mind you dissect. They don't talk to you casually anymore. They talk to you cautiously. They speak like people aware that every sentence might betray them. They choose their words like landmines. They avoid eye contact, not because they're shy, but because they're scared that you'll see too much. You didn't ask for that power. You became it. And now they feel it like a magnetic field. Because when you're running psychological warfare, not intentionally, but instinctively, it's not aggressive, it's surgical. You listen for the inconsistencies, you notice the micro-hesitations, you read the emotional residues, you track the mismatches between what someone claims and what their energy confesses. You don't expose them, you just let them reveal themselves. And that is what terrifies people the most. You do nothing and they collapse anyway. Their defenses crumble because your presence forces authenticity. Their lies lose coherence because your silence destabilizes them. Their personas glitch because your perception bypasses every mask they know how to wear. Psychological warfare, in your case, is simply the natural consequence of being too perceptive in a world too comfortable with self-delusion. And that's why they finally admitted it. Because when someone realizes they can't mislead you, can't manipulate you, can't hide from you, can't perform in front of you, something inside them breaks. They either level up or they confess defeat. The person who admitted it felt that break. They felt the moment their minds stopped trying to compete and started trying to survive. They felt the moment their ego surrendered control to reality. And that reality was you. You didn't dominate them. You disassembled them piece by piece. Not loudly, not harshly, not vengefully, but with the calm inevitability of someone who's seen too much to be fooled anymore. You made them face themselves. You made them acknowledge their patterns, their contradictions, their weaknesses. And when someone sees themselves reflected through the mirror of your clarity, the shock is violent. Not because you judged them, but because you didn't have to. The truth revealed itself. You just witnessed it. That is the highest form of psychological warfare. Not forcing the truth, but revealing it through presence alone. Most people rely on manipulation to gain advantage. You rely on perception. They rely on tactics. You rely on instinct. They rely on noise. You rely on silence. They rely on strategy. You rely on understanding. They rely on appearances. You rely on patterns. And patterns always win. When someone deals with you, they are not dealing with a person. They are dealing with a mind that evolved through chaos, sharpened through betrayal, trained through survival, and recalibrated through observation. You didn't learn how to read people. You were forced to. You didn't study human behavior. You decoded it as a matter of psychological survival. You didn't master the mind of others. You mastered your own, and everything else became obvious by comparison. That's why they confessed. Not because they wanted to, but because something in their internal circuitry snapped under your intensity. They saw the way your eyes didn't flinch, the way your tone didn't waver, the way your words landed with surgical precision, skipping emotion and going straight for the architecture of their psyche. They realized in real time that they were not leading this conversation. They were not participating in it. They were being studied inside it. And suddenly the whole act fell apart. People can lie to themselves for decades, but they can't lie to someone who sees the structure behind their lies. They can't perform around someone who recognizes their script. They can't manipulate someone who knows the ending before the story starts. Every strategy they tried dissolved instantly under the gravity of your awareness. That moment broke them, and the admission slipped out. You're running psychological warfare, but they weren't accusing you. They were confessing their defeat. They were finally acknowledging the intellectual hierarchy they tried so desperately to deny. And when one person says it aloud, everyone starts thinking it. It spreads, it circulates, it becomes the unspoken rule of the environment. Be careful around you. Guard your motives, hide your contradictions, watch your tone. Because one wrong move, and you will detect something they didn't want detected. You didn't become intimidating by force. You became intimidating by accuracy, and accuracy terrifies people who rely on illusion. Now the entire atmosphere treats you differently. People hesitate before lying to you. They speak less around you. They watch your reactions like students analyzing a master. Their nervous systems go into alert mode the moment they sense you're paying attention. And the more they react, the more control you gain without trying. Psychological warfare, for you, isn't battle. It's gravity. It bends things without touching them. And deep down, everyone knows you're only revealing fragments of what you can actually do. They know this isn't your full strength. They know this is just the surface level of your perception. They know that if you ever decided to unleash the full capacity of your mind, the real analytical specter beneath your calm exterior, they wouldn't stand a chance. They know you're holding back. They just don't know how much. And that uncertainty is what eats them alive. It's what keeps them glancing at you like they're trying to determine whether you're a friend, a threat, or something far more complicated. They feel the quiet intensity under your presence, the same way prey feels the air shift when a predator walks by. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just that subtle biological realization that they are standing next to someone who sees too much and says too little. Someone who doesn't need to raise their voice to be dangerous. Someone whose silence rearranges their internal hierarchy without ever announcing its intentions. They feel it when you enter a room. The air tightens, conversations shorten. People suddenly become hyper-aware of the things they say. Not because you intimidate them physically, but because they know one slip, one inconsistency, one tiny leak in their emotional armor, and you'll catch it instantly. You'll log it. You'll file it away in that quiet mental archive you carry. The one they pretend doesn't exist, but they feel the consequences of every time they speak, too quickly or too carelessly. This is the part that terrifies them. Your psychological warfare isn't something you turn on. It's something they activate by merely existing in your line of sight. You don't interrogate. They expose themselves. You don't dig. They unravel. You don't push. they confess. Because the truth is, most people live behind personas, so fragile that even a stable gaze from someone perceptive is enough to make those personas quake. And your gaze is not normal. It's not polite. It's not casual. It's targeted, clean, clinical. Like you're scanning for structural weaknesses, not participating in small talk. Your mind analyzes, dissects, isolates, and reconstructs reality with the same ease others use to blink. And people feel that. They feel the pressure of being understood too quickly. They feel the discomfort of talking to someone who notices the parts of them they spend their whole lives hiding. They walk away from you feeling exposed without knowing what exactly they exposed. That's psychological warfare at its purest form, extracting confessions through presence, not force. And the irony? You still haven't used even 20% of what you can do. You operate in passive mode and still dismantle egos. You stay quiet and still cause people to reveal their intentions. You allow them the illusion of leading the conversation while you are dissecting the structure behind their motives. They don't know how you know things. They don't know how you predict outcomes, anticipate behaviors, or sense lies before they're spoken. They don't know how you catch micro-emotions that last less than a second. They don't know how your mind maps their psyche while they're still trying to decide which version of themselves to present. What unnerves them most is that nothing gets past you. Not pride, not insecurity, not attraction, not resentment. Even when you say nothing, your silence generates revelations inside them. They replay conversations with you hours later, realizing that you weren't responding to their words. You were responding to the intention behind their words. You weren't analyzing what they said. You were analyzing why they said it. This is where the psychological warfare becomes lethal. You don't just understand people. You understand the architecture behind their humanity. You understand the mechanics powering their behavior. You understand the shadows they walk around with, even if they never speak them aloud. You read people at the frequency they try to avoid acknowledging. And when someone realizes you're reading them on frequencies they didn't know were emitting, they panic. They panic because suddenly the power dynamic becomes undeniable. They panic because they realize they were never in control of the interaction. They panic because they see the truth they tried to suppress. You weren't reacting to them. You were diagnosing them. And every attempt they made at pretending, performing, or posturing collapses under that realization. Some people avoid you after that. Not because you're cruel, but because they know too much of their identity is built on illusions. They know too much of their confidence is held together with tape and ego. They know standing near you means standing near the risk of being seen accurately. An accurate perception is something fragile people fear more than failure. Others stay close but cautiously, as if being near you is both a privilege and a threat. They admire your insight but fear that the same insight could dismantle them. They crave your approval but fear your evaluation. They want to learn from you but dread being measured by you. It's a strange dependency humans develop when they encounter someone whose mind exposes the truth they've been hiding from themselves. Yet no matter how they react, distance, overcorrection, admiration, silence, the root cause is the same. They know you see more than you speak, and speak less than you know. And that makes you dangerous in a way they have no defense for. Because how do you protect yourself from someone who can see your intentions forming before you consciously register them? How do you manipulate someone who notices your emotional shifts before you verbalize them? How do you deceive someone who studies your patterns more accurately than you study your goals? You don't. You can't. You surrender to the hierarchy. That's why the admission happened. That's why they told the truth. That's why the words slipped out of their mouth like a confession, breaking free from psychological pressure. You're running mental warfare. They didn't say it to warn others. They said it because their mind needed a label for what they were experiencing. Their brain needed a reason for why they felt unbalanced around you. Their ego needed to justify why none of their tactics worked. When the psyche cannot compete, it seeks explanation. And the explanation they landed on was the only one that made sense to them. You're too advanced to engage without consequences. This is the point where your presence becomes an environment of its own. People adjust their tone around you. They soften their expressions. They remove exaggerated gestures. They watch themselves. They become self-aware in your presence, not because you demand it, but because your perception forces it. When a mind knows it's being measured accurately, it behaves differently. It reveals less. It hides more. It struggles to hold its performance intact. But here's the quiet truth. The more they attempt to hide from you, the more transparent they become. Nervousness is data. Silence is data. Hesitation is data. Over-explaining is data. Every move they make gives you another piece of the equation. And because you read patterns, not performances, their attempts to shield themselves only accelerate your understanding of them. They try to reduce their psychological footprint. You track the reduction. They try to control what they reveal. You analyze the control. They try to appear composed. You study the effort behind the composure. They try to wear neutrality. You catch the emotional leakage underneath. Psychological warfare is not just something you're good at, it's something you radiate. And yet, the most frightening part for them is that you don't weaponize it intentionally. If anything, you minimize it. You hold back out of courtesy, restraint, or pure exhaustion from knowing too much too often. And even that restraint terrifies people. Because if the reduced version of your mind can pierce through them this easily, what would the unleashed version do? If this is your passive mode, what does your active mode look like? They imagine it, they fear it, they dread it, because deep down, they know there is a version of you that could dismantle a person psychologically without raising your voice, without being cruel, without even trying, simply by exposing the truth they've avoided confronting. Truth is the most dangerous weapon in the world. You wield it instinctively. And as they stand there, trying to stabilize themselves under the weight of your perception, something else quietly begins unfolding in the background. Something they cannot explain, but they feel it rising in the air like a shift in atmospheric pressure. Something in the hierarchy is moving. Something in your demeanor is sharpening. Something in the equation is rearranging again. They don't know what it is, but they can feel it. It's the moment they realize the dynamic is no longer intellectual, it's instinctual. Their body senses the shift before their mind catches up. Their breath shortens, their shoulders tense, their thoughts scatter, because deep down, on a level they rarely acknowledge, they understand what is happening. You're stepping into a new psychological altitude, a higher tier of awareness, sharper than the one that already dismantled them. Something in you is focusing, aligning, activating. And they can feel the activation like a heat source, drawing closer, not aggressive, not hostile, simply undeniable. This is the part of your presence that collapses people without touching them. The part that turns their confidence into static. The part that exposes the fragility behind their composure. The part that makes their rehearsed personas feel suddenly childish. and transparent. It's not that you become intimidating. It's that they suddenly recognize how profoundly outmatched they are. They realize they are being studied by someone who doesn't just understand human behavior, someone who predicts it. Because psychological warfare at your level isn't about manipulation, it's about inevitability. You don't maneuver people. You anticipate them. You don't persuade them. You let their patterns betray them. You don't attack, you reveal. And revelation is far more devastating than confrontation. They stand in front of you, realizing they've already told you more about themselves than they ever meant to. Their tone, their pacing, their eyes, their contradictions, they've all been silently feeding your analysis. And the more they try to hide, the more the truth leaks out in the small places they don't control. The twitch of a jaw, the half-second hesitation, the unnecessary explanation, the forced neutrality. People think they're masking their emotions, but you don't read emotions. You read the architecture supporting them. That's why they can't lie to you without breaking. A lie is a structure. You see the beams holding it up, and now, as the shift continues, they start to understand something else. You're not just hard to fool, you're impossible to ambush. The psychological terrain around you changes the moment someone enters it. The room becomes a field of exposed wires and pulsing signals, each of them revealing information they never meant to share. They thought they were coming to you with strategy, but strategy fails when the opponent sees the intention forming before the move is executed. Their panic begins quietly. You notice it long before they do. A subtle tightening around the eyes, a pause pregnant with uncertainty, a forced swallow as if their throat is resisting their words. They're not reacting to you. They're reacting to what you represent. You represent the collapse of their illusions. And once illusions collapse, people have two options: evolve or crumble. Most crumble. They emotionally fold because they've never been forced to face a mind that doesn't allow distortion. They've navigated their whole lives through half-truths, masked intentions, social choreography. But none of that choreography works on you. Your perception cuts through performance like it's made of smoke. Their personas fall apart before they finish stepping into them. They are naked in front of a mind that dissects invisibly. And here's the part they fear but never say out loud. They can feel when you start to analyze deeper. You don't change expression. You don't change posture. You don't change tone. But something shifts. Your silence becomes heavier. Your gaze becomes sharper. Your stillness becomes threatening. Not because you intend to intimidate, but because your mind is working at a depth they cannot fathom. They sense themselves being mapped, indexed, categorized, and they know once someone like you understands them at that level, there is no going back. They cannot use their old tactics anymore. They cannot manipulate anymore. They cannot pretend anymore. You strip away every psychological hiding place they have. That's what they feel happening in that moment, the disappearance of their hiding places. And when someone has no place to hide, the only thing left is honesty or collapse. But honesty requires strength, and collapse requires surrender. Most people don't choose either consciously. They fall into emotional confusion instead, scrambling to stabilize their identity in the presence of a mind that sees them more clearly than they see themselves. You watch them toggle between personas, trying to find one that doesn't feel fragile under your gaze, trying to find a version of themselves that doesn't tremble under your analysis. But every version fails, not because they are weak, but because you are too accurate. Accuracy is the natural enemy of performance. You don't attack their persona, you simply perceive beyond it, and perception destroys the illusion. And the moment they realize that perception is intentional, not accidental, something in them flips. They stop thinking about the conversation. They start thinking about survival. Not physical survival, psychological survival. They start adjusting their words mid-sentence. They start sitting differently. They start scanning your eyes for micro-shifts. They start forcing calmness into their tone. They start hiding motives before they even fully form in their mind. But that's the tragedy of standing in front of someone like you. Every attempt to hide becomes new data. Avoidance is data. Fear is data. Over-socializing is data. Under-explaining is data. Your psychological warfare is not a weapon. It's a feedback loop. The more they react, the more you understand. The more you understand, the more they react. Until suddenly, they're stuck in a spiral of self-exposure they cannot escape. You remain calm. They unravel in slow motion. You remain neutral. They trip over the weight of their own intentions. You remain observant. They feel themselves being read like an open dossier. And then it hits them, a brutal, quiet, paralyzing realization. You're not fighting them. You're not defending yourself from them. You're not even engaging them. You're profiling them. And that is when their ego collapses completely. Because humans can handle challenge, debate, disagreement, but they cannot handle accurate psychological profiling performed effortlessly. Profiling removes their ability to deceive, manipulate, posture, or hide. Profiling reduces their entire identity to observable patterns. Profiling exposes their weaknesses without you ever naming them. They realize you're not dangerous because of what you say. You're dangerous because of what you see. This is where the atmosphere around you begins to bend permanently. Even people who haven't interacted with you yet start hearing about the way you see things. They hear stories of moments where you predicted outcomes with eerie accuracy. They hear how you exposed someone's contradiction without raising your voice. They hear how you disarmed someone's manipulation attempts by simply remaining silent. They hear how someone admitted your psychological dominance because resisting it felt pointless. You don't even have to prove anything anymore. Your reputation speaks before you do. And suddenly, the room rearranges itself when you enter. People shift into new behavioral modes. Someone stops lying mid-sentence. Someone else closes their mouth before oversharing. Someone becomes strangely polite. Another becomes overly cautious. You haven't said a word. You haven't made a move. But the mind of the environment recalibrates the moment your presence registers. They don't fear you. They fear what they might reveal in front of you. They don't fear your words. They fear your interpretation of theirs. They don't fear confrontation. They fear exposure. Because psychological warfare is not about aggression. It's about accuracy so sharp it feels like violence to the ego. And you are accuracy incarnate. And that's where everything breaks open. Quietly, invisibly, but unmistakably. Because the moment they recognize you as accuracy incarnate, they realize something even more dangerous. Accuracy eliminates the shield of ambiguity. It removes the gray areas people use to hide their motives. There's no room for vague intentions around you. No space for half-truths. No safety in emotional camouflage. Everything becomes crystal, whether they want it to or not. Their behavior stops being flexible. Their persona stops being fluid. You freeze their psychological shape into something undeniable. Suddenly, they are no longer who they think they are. They're who you see them to be. And that terrifies them at a cellular level. People survive socially by controlling perception. But perception is the one battlefield where no one can beat you. You read people the way a surgeon reads anatomical structures, clean, clinical, precise. You see the wound behind the joke, the insecurity behind the confidence, the envy behind the compliment, and you don't expose them outright. You do something far more destructive. You let them feel seen. You let them experience that fleeting, chilling sensation of being understood too deeply. And once someone feels that, they can never relax around you again. Because what's psychological warfare, if not the ability to collapse someone's illusion of control simply by perceiving the truth they thought was invisible? And you don't even have to try. Your perception is not a weapon you wield. It's a field that people enter. And the field forces confessions. It forces authenticity. It forces the collapse of every defensive identity structure they rely on. Their behavioral patterns warp under your observation. Their thoughts become louder in their own head because you absorb the micro-signals they don't know they're leaking. And the irony is brutal. You are not doing anything to them. You are doing something through them, because psychological warfare at your level is not performed, it's activated. The moment someone tries to deceive you, they activate it. The moment someone tries to manipulate you, they activate it. The moment someone plays emotionally sideways, they activate it. Your mind doesn't start the war, your mind finishes it. This is why the admission happened. This is why they slipped, stumbled, and confessed aloud that you're running mental warfare on everyone. They didn't say it as a joke. They said it as an observation so raw, it startled even them. Because when the human brain encounters a mind it cannot predict, cannot deceive, cannot navigate, it defaults to honesty. Not moral honesty, biological honesty, instinctual honesty, the kind that overrides ego. You forced them into that honesty simply by existing at full perceptive strength. And now that the truth is out, now that everyone around you recognizes you as the silent operator of psychological dynamics, something far more interesting begins emerging. Your influence becomes structural, not situational. You don't just affect individuals, you affect environments. You restructure social dynamics simply by being part of them. Rooms readjust to make psychological space for you. Conversations reshape themselves to avoid looking foolish in your presence. People practice their stories before telling them to you, editing out the emotional fluff that would collapse under your scrutiny. They prepare for you like they're preparing for an exam. Even people who claim not to be intimidated by anything lower their voice when they talk to you. Not by choice, by instinct. Because instinct acknowledges hierarchies long before intellect does, and your hierarchy is not about status or dominance. It's about cognition. It's about insight. It's about the frightening reality that you understand too much for anyone to feel psychologically comfortable around you, without first purifying their own intentions. But here's the piece no one dares to say aloud. The real reason they fear your insight. You don't weaponize information. You weaponize understanding. Information can be hidden. Understanding cannot. People can defend against exposure of facts. They cannot defend against exposure of patterns. Facts can be disputed. Patterns cannot. A lie can be denied. A behavioral blueprint cannot. And you don't focus on the story they tell. You focus on the architecture of the story. You don't judge their words, you judge their calibration. And this is where your psychological warfare reaches its apex. Because they begin to understand the most devastating truth of all. You know the version of them that even they're afraid to meet. You know the shadow behind their ambition. You know the fear behind their confidence. You know the wound behind their anger. You know the envy behind their politeness. You know the desire behind their restraint. And you know all of this before they've finished their first sentence. This is what people mean when they say you're running mental warfare. It's not that you manipulate others. It's that your awareness dismantles their ability to manipulate you. They lose the power of illusion. They lose the power of subtlety. They lose the ability to craft narratives. You create a psychological vacuum where only truth can survive. And truth is the one thing people lie to themselves about most. And when someone realizes they can't lie to themselves in front of you, they panic. Some panic quietly, smiling through their discomfort. Some panic defensively, pretending confidence they don't possess. Some panic aggressively, trying to force a power dynamic that simply doesn't exist. Some panic passively, becoming overly agreeable to avoid standing out. But all of them feel the same thing, the collapse of psychological advantage. You don't take their power. Their power dies on contact. Because a mind built on illusion cannot stand in front of a mind built on clarity. And clarity is your native environment. This is where the psychological warfare shifts from interpersonal to existential. They're no longer afraid of losing an argument. They're afraid of losing their identity. They fear becoming transparent in front of someone who won't weaponize it, but will witness it. Witnessing is more devastating than confrontation. When someone realizes you've seen the parts of them they want to keep hidden, they don't feel defeated. They feel exposed. Exposure destroys ego faster than criticism ever could. And when someone feels exposed, they do something predictable. They start compensating. They adjust their tone. They correct their posture. They choose safer topics. They avoid deeper truths. They speak in half-felt emotions. They soften their thoughts so they don't sound insecure. They sanitize their opinions so they don't sound fragile. The whole environment becomes a performance centered around avoiding your accuracy. Your presence forces everyone else into strategy mode. But strategy never works against someone who thinks 10 layers beneath strategy's surface. They try to stay composed, not realizing you are studying the effort behind their composure. They try to sound confident, not realizing you are hearing the fear inside their vocal tension. They try to look relaxed, not realizing you are reading their body's micro-responses, the ones that betray suppressed stress. They try to act unaffected, not realizing you are tracking the emotional leakage around their eyes. They don't understand that psychological warfare at your level is not executed at the behavioral level. It's executed at the subconscious one. You don't need someone to speak for you to hear them. Their nervous system speaks first. Their breathing pattern tells you their emotional baseline. Their eye movement tells you their intention. Their posture tells you their insecurity. Their micro-expressions tell you their suppressed truth. Their pacing tells you their inner conflict. Their silence tells you their fear. By the time they begin talking, you've already solved them. This is why the admission wasn't an exaggeration. It was an emotional inevitability. When a person with a layered, deceptive, defensive mind meets someone like you, their ego collapses under the weight of being understood. They aren't admitting you're a psychological warfare master because they want to flatter you. They are admitting it because they cannot pretend otherwise anymore. Their biology admitted it before they did. And here's the darker truth they don't articulate. You've become the one mind they fear disappointing, not because they want your approval, because they know you'll see the real reason behind their choices. You'll see the fear beneath their excuses, the insecurity beneath their arrogance, the longing beneath their detachment. and no one wants to be read in that naked way. So they walk around you like someone walking around a sleeping lion, quietly, carefully, respectfully, because they know awakening the full strength of your perception is something they are not psychologically prepared for. Yet what they don't understand, what they cannot comprehend, is that this version of you, the one that terrifies them, is still holding so much back. You keep your mind folded, layered, restrained. You use your perception like a scalpel, not a blade. You cut only what needs to be cut, reveal only what needs to be revealed. You don't unleash, you don't overwhelm, you don't dominate. You simply do not allow distortion. That alone is enough to destabilize entire rooms. But if you ever chose to operate at full perceptive power, if you ever allowed the whole architecture of your insight to activate, you would dismantle dynamics people spent years constructing. You would expose patterns they didn't know existed. You would analyze intentions they haven't admitted to themselves. You would predict reactions before they consciously form. You would become a walking psychological mirror so clear it would annihilate every ego that tried to stand in front of it. That is what they fear. That is what they sense. That is why the air changes when you walk in. They aren't preparing for who you are. They're preparing for who you could become. Because the most devastating truth about you is this: you haven't even begun your psychological warfare. They only tasted the passive version, the restrained version, the quiet version. And even that was enough to break their confidence. You didn't attack their mind. You destabilized it by existing near it. You didn't challenge their narrative. Your perception dissolved it. You didn't confront their deception. Their deception collapsed under the weight of your accuracy. They're not afraid of losing to you. They're afraid of what you'll see when you're looking through them. And as this realization sinks deeper into the environment, saturating every conversation, every glance, every interaction, something irreversible begins to crystallize. They start adjusting permanently. They become more careful permanently. They speak slower permanently. They filter their own thoughts permanently. Their psychology reorganizes itself around your presence, like an ecosystem adapting to a new apex predator. This is not domination. This is not manipulation. This is not control. This is what happens when a mind evolves beyond the settings of the collective. Your existence resets the environment. It upgrades the subconscious rules everyone follows. It rewrites the dynamic of power in silence. It enforces truth without ever demanding it. It reshapes hierarchy without announcing it. It dismantles illusions without touching them. And as this new structure solidifies, as people begin living by the unspoken laws your presence creates, one final understanding dawns on them with chilling clarity. You didn't force them to admit the truth. Your mind made the truth undeniable. You didn't choose psychological warfare. Psychological warfare is simply what happens when someone like you stops hiding their intelligence. You aren't running the game. You are the reason the game exists at all. You are the quiet, calculating force that bends reality around insight. You are the blueprint everyone is suddenly following. You are the mind their defenses were never designed to withstand. You are the psychological architect they never saw coming. They admitted it because there was nothing else left to do. And deep down, beneath every word they speak, beneath every look they try to hide, beneath every behavior they modify in your presence, their subconscious whispers the truth they can no longer escape. You didn't just master psychological warfare. You became the atmosphere it breathes in,